While walking in the biological park Chiriatapu, I found termite. Belongs to subfamily Nostitermitinae and genus Hospitalitums, which mainly known for their soldier caste, which has an elongated and pointed head called nurses the nose. Colonies are divided into three castes: worker, soldier, and reproductive couple. These termites no need to stand a ground out of the heat or dig deep for water. For their nest, they have hollow tree trunks. These termites don't eat the timber they live in. So, they have to launch food gathering and they navigate by following the scent of pheromone, which is a chemical they secrete to send information to their buddies. Hospitalitums are lichen eating termites, which of course also take in the plant materials. These mostly black and dark brown colored termites forages openly. Their foraging columns may stretch from over 100 meters from their nest and are mostly left undisturbed by ants. So I wonder why they always feed on dead wood and how these tiny creatures play an important role in the ecosystem. Then I found that they have a specialized diet primarily consisting of cellulose based materials such as wood and plant matters. They have a specialized midgut teeming with microbes that break down the cellulose. They have a mutual relationship with microbes. Termites masticate wood to break it down, and microbes chemically digest the wood into smaller molecules that the termites are able to absorb and utilize. This preference for cellulose what makes them a threat to wood. They pose a threat to wooden structure but not typically dangerous to human. Termites primarily feed on dead and decaying wood and plays an important role in the nutrient cycle by decomposing dead plant matters and returning nutrients to the soil. By converting dead plant matters into organic matter, termites contribute to the nutrient cycle and soil fertility.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tiklo. My name is Noor Jacqueline Jack. I am from Webby village located in Mayabandar in the beautiful Andaman and Nicobar Islands. In this video, I want to show you all and tell you all a story about Tiklo, the stream that flows through my village and its significance to the current community living here. I grew up playing in this Tiklo and Tiklo has always been one of my favorite spots. And I'm sure it's not just me but everyone in the community has beautiful memories of this Tiklo. Tiklo is not only a favorite swimming spot but also plays a significant role in the lives of the current community living here. It has been essential for fishing, providing daily food, irrigation for agriculture, and fetching water for personal use. However, as the years have passed and I have grown older, I have noticed that the river has dried up even more and many changes have occurred. But let's hear it from my grandmother who has witnessed these changes for much longer than I have.
Makali ciklu ni le nyani da sento kede lu nyani da ngelo da pa ji lo nya ko ni ciklu ji phani chi we da pa ji de chi de phani ngi we shi we da do ciklu ciklu lo nyani la hi ya lo chi hu ya lo tho bu ko de su ba o ba ma de de u de ho de wa de ciklu ni ya lo ni kai ji da ngelo da pa ji ni ciklu ni khui tho de chi tu ba ma de lo ni ku chi pu na de ni la Udanya, ini siapa yang orang itu kau orang ni, apa itu ni ada orang, dia tu kau yang ni kau ni tu uji jadi mana mah, hasil kerja ni lah apa itu, ni kan itu. Orang ni di Padang itu lah, cikgu ni uji sesuatu le, bagus tu bagi bani, cikgu ni sesuatu ni lah tahu ni waktu itu, orang.
At last, I want to urge my people to preserve what we have and not lose it. Let's not litter our Tiklo and continue to uphold the absolute beauty and nature that we have. Let's work together to protect our Chiklo for future generations by keeping it clean and preserving its natural state. And with this, we can ensure that it remains a vital and beautiful part of our community. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hermie, and if you haven't already noticed, ouch! Sorry about that. So, as I was saying, if you haven't already noticed, I'm a hermit crab. And unlike other crabs, we don't have a hard outer shell but a softer one. So, to protect ourselves, we take shelter in discarded shells of sea snails and other mollusks. This is how we have survived for a very long time. But recently, hermit crabs around the world are facing a housing crisis. Yes, many of us are having a hard time finding a shell. Why, you ask? Well, I don't really know. Probably the snails might have become immortal now, so there are no shells left. Or do they not want to share their shells anymore? Honestly, I'm not surprised. They've always been shellfish. But would that mean we will be left homeless? Probably not. There's a new alternative in town. My friends abroad were also raving about plastic shells since they say it's much lighter and smells the same. Although I haven't heard back from them ever since. I also can't talk to other animals about plastic because it is such a taboo topic at the seashore. But such drastic changes do make me wonder. If this continues, how will future generations look back and view this change? I might not have an answer for it right now, but I do know for a fact that humans will come to our aid as they have for other species, such as Steve Irwin for the crocodiles, or Gaura Devi for the trees in her hometown. I may be a very small part of the human world, but they play a very important role in mine. I completely trust humanity because at least they are not selfish.
It is the Andaman Shama. The Andaman Shama is a species of bird in the family Musicapidae. It is endemic to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Endemic means which is only found in a particular area or region. It was previously considered a subspecies of the white-rumped shama. Its natural habitats are subtropical or tropical dry forest and subtropical or tropical moist lowland forest. It is found in dense forests, scrub and gardens and densely vegetated ravines near water. It keeps low above ground or is terrestrial. And their food habits to eat are like ants, caterpillars, moths, beetles, flies, grasshoppers, centipedes, spiders, also worms and berries. And they breed in May to June. There is nest made up of grasses and dry bamboo leaves lined with fine roots, twigs, rhizomorphs sited in a broken stump or crevice above ground, usually within dense vegetation. They lay a clutch of 2 to 3 eggs. And I think many people get confused between magpie robin and Andaman shama because of their same like body structure and colors. But we could notice them. Magpie robin's shoulder patch, the underparts and the sides of the long tail are white, while the Andaman shama's shoulder patch has black colored and underparts with rear flanks tinged rufous, pale orange or warm brown colored. And in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, there are many birds who migrate seasonally, are like Asian glossy starling, brown shrike, white wagtail, common sandpiper, blue-tailed bee-eater, etc. And I wonder that what is the reason behind that this species doesn't migrate to other areas or regions.
Hello everyone, myself Anisa Izhar and I am going to talk about the biodiversity around my house, like the different kind of organisms, birds, etc. present just in my surroundings. You can hear some, so come along. So, just in this small area, I can find a number of species, including many birds like common mena, oriental magpie robin, house sparrow, and of course, house crow, Brock pigeon, white-throated kingfisher, Indian white-eye, orange-headed thrush, hornet sunbird, small minivet, black-naped monarch, Andaman cockle, white-breasted waterhen, greater racket-tailed drongo, and red-breasted parakeet. So this is the mango tree in front of my house where I found most of the bird species I talked about. So while observing the surrounding, I found this small lemon plant which was planted by my mother, which was having more species diversity than the other plants around it. As you can see in this plant, I barely found any insect or other species. We can say this as two islands in which one is inhabited by more species and the other one is left abandoned. So what might be the reason why they have chose that small lemon plant instead of the others that are present around it? Could this be a bandwagon effect? No, I don't think so. Because every species have its strategies to find a perfect plant for them, a perfect habitat for them. So let me show you the different organism present in this small lemon tree. Firstly, just look at this male common momon wandering around the tree. And here comes the common momon caterpillar feeding on the lemon tree leaves. I mean, really look at it. How beautiful and how wonderful. Here comes our praying mantis. One thing I observed about it is that it prefers to stay below the leaves. I think it's to protect themselves from predation. Below the tree, my mother put some potato peels, which became a home for many insects like snails, many flies, millipedes, and etc. And now I'm standing in my terrace, my favorite spot for observation. And also, there is. Okay, I found it. You can find it too. It's just observation. And believe me, today start from your home and you'll end up seeing the wonders of the nature.
मेरा घर नॉर्थ एंड मिडिल अंडमान करमाटान विलेज में है। मेरा घर से 2 मिनट दूरी में खाड़ी है। इतना बड़ा है कि 1 घंटा घूमने से भी पार नहीं होएगा। ये मेरा घर है। ये फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट का शेड है। ये फ्लोटिंग जट्टी है। सामने खाड़ी है। और एक ब्रिज है और बीच में एक रोड है। यहाँ का जट्टी से डुंगी लेके सब समुद्र फिशिंग करने जाते हैं। हम बचपन से खाड़ी में डोरी खेलने जाते थे। यहाँ के लोग डोरी खेलते हैं, जाल मारते हैं और रॉड और दाव से केकड़ा मारते हैं। खाड़ी में कतला, मागुर, चंदा, लाल बिटकी, कोराल ये सब मच्छी मिलते हैं। खाड़ी के पेड़ के अगल बगल सिप्पी और घोंगा मिलते हैं। हम देखा है नवंबर दिसंबर टाइम पे खोरी मच्छी खाड़ी पे अंडा देने के लिए आते हैं। इसकी वजह से बस्ती के लोग भी डोरी खेलने आते हैं सुबह सुबह। जब अंडा देने आते हैं तब बहुत बड़ा बड़ा मच्छी भी साथ आता है। एक खाड़ी में मच्छी और केकड़ा पूरा मिलता था, लेकिन आजकल बहुत कम मिलता है। ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? बस्ती के लोग खाड़ी पे कचरा फेंक रहे हैं। पॉल्यूशन के वजह से शायद खाड़ी पे मच्छी बहुत कम हो रहा है। बस्ती के लोग भी कभी कभी ओवर फिशिंग करते हैं। लगता है इसके वजह से ही फ़िश बहुत कम हो रहा है। यहाँ के लोग मच्छी खरीदते नहीं हैं, खुद मार के लाते हैं। खाड़ी में फ़िश कम होने से क्या होगा?
Let's take a walk through littoral forest of Andaman. In Andaman Nicobar Island, we have 13 types of forest. There is one forest that is very special for our island. That is called littoral forest. These forests are not found all over in India. In India, it is only found in Andaman Nicobar Island, except Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand. The littoral forest is a unique type of forest. So many people come to Andaman, enjoy the beach, and this forest can be seen next to the beach. When I walk through this forest, I notice majorly evergreen and deciduous trees are there, like sea maua, jungli jamun, deedu, Indian almond, white chuglam, helicopter tree. Littoral forests are also home to many unique fauna like Andaman giant gecko, Andaman bent-toed gecko, purple crab, etc. How do evergreen and deciduous trees survive on this sandy soil? Just imagine. Look at this maua tree. During high tide, salt water will hit the tree, but this tree is still alive. Look at the maua tree root formation surrounding the tree, spreaded up to 8 to 10 meters long roots. These roots are help them to keep stand stable. How to growing this tree nearby shore, and why are this tree growing on this coastal forest? Yeah, I guess this tree have capability to survive on this coastal forest. These forests are also barrier. They protect the coast from cyclones, high wind, and other stresses. Another type of coastal forest found commonly in Andaman Island is the mangrove forest. Although we know a lot about mangrove habitat species and their value, we know very little about littoral forests. These forests are very unique and very beautiful ecosystem. We should keep save this unique forest. Thank you so much.
हेलो दोस्तों, मैं ज्योति ठाकुर। मैं आज कुछ खास, कुछ यूनिक शेल ढूंढ रही हूँ, जैसा हम सब अपने अपने बचपन में समुद्र के किनारे ढूंढा करते थे। अरे ये क्या, चलिए देखते हैं मुझे क्या मिला है आज। अरे ये तो चांद है। आप सब क्या कहते हैं इसे? आपने भी तो ये कलेक्ट किया होगा अपने बचपन में। क्या आप जानते हैं ये क्या है? इसमें कोई हॉलो स्पेस भी नहीं है, तो इसमें कोई मैरीन क्रिएचर्स तो नहीं रह सकते। तो फिर ये क्या हो सकता है? किस चीज़ का शेल हो सकता है ये? 3D सेमी सर्कल शेप है, एक तरफ कॉन्वेक्स शेप में उठा हुआ है और दूसरी तरफ फ्लैट सरफेस है जिसमें कुछ स्पाइरल सा बना हुआ है। ये क्या हो सकता है? चलिए जानते हैं कि ये क्या है। इसे कॉमनली कैट आई शेल भी कहा जाता है और इंडिया में इसे गोमती चक्र भी बोलते हैं। एक्चुअली में ये एक ओपोकुलम है जिसे हम ट्रैपडोर भी बोल सकते हैं, जो कि कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट से बना होता है और स्नेल के फुट में अटैच होता है। ये मोस्ट ऑफ द सी स्नेल के स्पीशीज़ में एंड फ्रेश वाटर स्नेल के स्पीशीज़ में पाया जाता है एंड कुछ लैंड स्नेल के स्पीशीज़ में भी पाया जाता है। ये उन्हें हेल्प करता है उनकी शेल के ओपनिंग को क्लोज करने में और बंद करने में।
ये ओपोकुलम स्नेल्स के लिए ट्रैप डोर के जैसा वर्क करता है।
ये ओपोकुलम स्नेल्स को हेल्प करता है खतरों के वक्त अपने प्रीडेटर से बचने में और जब लो टाइड का टाइम होता है तो उनके बॉडी को ड्राई आउट होने से बचाने में। ये बहुत से अलग अलग साइज, शेप्स एंड कलर के हो सकते हैं उनके स्नेल्स के स्पीशीज़ एंड बॉडी के हिसाब से। और जब स्नेल मर जाते हैं और डिकम्पोज हो जाते हैं तो ये शेल उनके बॉडी से अलग हो जाता है। और ऐसा कहा जाता है कि पहले के ज़माने में बहुत से पैसिफिक आइलैंड्स में ये कैट आई शेल एज अ करेंसी, मतलब पैसे के जैसा वो लोग यूज़ करते थे और उसे ग्रोथ का, प्रोटेक्शन का और गुड लक का भी सिंबल माना जाता था। और ये शेल्स ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज़ के बीच में भी बहुत फेमस है। वहाँ पे कोई ट्रेडिशनल फंक्शन होता है या कोई शादी होती है तो उसमें भी ये शेल्स यूज़ किए जाते हैं।
इस छोटे से कैट आई शेल से कितनी सारी कहानियाँ जुड़ी हुई हैं। शेल्स हमें नेचर की ब्यूटी एंड स्ट्रेंथ की याद दिलाते हैं। चलिए आइए इसे समुद्र में वापस छोड़ देते हैं।